Tashi Delek. If we could all please take our seats. Hello everyone, I'm Liz Deep-Jones. I'm honoured and actually overwhelmed to be invited to be your MC tonight to celebrate His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama's 90th birthday. And I have to say, I'm standing, I think, on one of the most stunning stages I've ever seen with these beautiful dhunkas behind me. You see these in most Tibetan homes, so it's wonderful to be surrounded by this incredible Tibetan tradition. And a special welcome to you all on behalf of the Sydney Tibetan community and Independent MP for Wakehurst, Michael Regan. I'd like to start by paying my respects to the traditional owners of the land that we're gathered on tonight, the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation, and pay my respects to elders past and present, and acknowledge First Nations guests that have joined us tonight from other nations. Now, we have a very special guest with us tonight, the political leader of Tibet, Sikyong Penpa Tsering. I'd like to welcome him to the stage, please. We're going to start the ceremony with respect and celebration of His Holiness by welcoming, of course, the Sikyong, and he was going to bring a portrait to the stage. The portrait is coming. And also, while we're talking about the portrait, I'm also a producer of a We Bleed the Same anti-racism exhibition, and we're gifting the portrait to my left to His Holiness. It's a collaboration with the official photographer of His Holiness, Tenzin Shulga, and my team and our photographer, Tim Bauer and Brenda Dwyer. So we're very honoured to gift our portrait to His Holiness and hope that he'll either show it, hang it either in the office in Canberra or possibly in Dharamsala in India. And now I'd like to welcome the Sikyong, and we'll have some chanting. They'll bring up His Holiness' photo to the stage to respect and honour him tonight. If we can please stand, sorry. Thank you. Thank you. You may be seated. Thank you. Thank you, Sikyong. We'll be hearing from the Sikyong a little bit later with his highly anticipated address after dinner tonight. So we do have a very exciting night ahead to celebrate this momentous and historic occasion with traditional Tibetan music, performances and prayers. And later tonight we'll be joined by incredible Australians from various professions sharing their stories about their experiences with His Holiness, including Dr. Sophie Scomps, the Independent Federal Member for Mackellar, the Reverend Bill Cruz from the Bill Cruz Foundation, NITV's presenter and journalist Carla Grant, Dr. Feng Shongyi, Associate Professor in China Studies from the University of Technology in Sydney, and Australia's most loved chef, Kylie Kwong. Where's Kylie? I haven't seen her tonight yet. Oh, there she is right in front of me. Hey, hi Nell. Thanks for joining us. And so I'm looking forward to their speeches, and we'll have speeches after dinner by the representative of the Dalai Lama in Australia, Karma Sangye, and as I said earlier, Sikyong Penpa Tsering, who is the political leader of Tibet. So we look forward to his address after dinner. Now, the Dalai Lama has a special relationship with Australia, having toured here 10 times, starting in 1982. In 1992, the then Prime Minister, Paul Keating, met with His Holiness to acknowledge his prominence as a religious figure and distinguished Nobel laureate. His Holiness received the Nobel Peace Prize in 1989 for advocating for peace and freedom through non-violence based on Buddhist philosophy. In 2007, the then Prime Minister John Howard met with His Holiness also, despite staunch opposition from China. Since then, Prime Ministers, political officials have unfortunately been reluctant to meet with His Holiness due to the ongoing pressures from China. We're living in uncertain and challenging times where human rights and international law are being tested and challenged across the globe. Especially right now, in the forefront is the plight of the Palestinians, whom I also support. We're grateful that political leaders and public personalities have joined us tonight in celebrating and supporting His Holiness' lifelong advocacy for Tibet, the Tibetan cause, and openly speaking out for human rights. And a big thank you to all of you here tonight for continuing your efforts for a free Tibet. I join you in your advocacy and fight for human rights and freedoms for Tibet and for all peoples in Australia, as an Australian Lebanese journalist, writer and producer. And as I said before, I produced the We Bleed the Same exhibition, which we are honoured that His Holiness has agreed to share his story and photography in our exhibition through his official photographer, Tenzin Shoga, who's based in Dharamsala. I'm obviously a big supporter and a friend of His Holiness. He actually told me to call him his friend, which is quite amazing. And after having interviewed him 3 times on various visits to Australia from 2011, and tonight I'm also showing my solidarity with the people of Tibet wearing the traditional shupa. This is Thank you. It's a great honour to be wearing this. I asked their permission to ensure, obviously that it was appropriate. And I felt tonight, we want to celebrate Tibetan culture. And I'd like to thank Shuni, the incredible Tibetan dressmaker who made, hand-stitched the dress for me to suit my physique, if you like. She's based in Nepal. And I'd like to also quickly thank Khienzim Donghu, Wero Khienzim, who works with the Tibetan community. She was also Australia's first Tibetan lady to run for Parliament. Where is Khienzim? Where are you? Are you hiding? She doesn't like the limelight. I can't see you. Oh, okay. Oh, there, she's right there. Okay. Thank you, Khienzim. I really appreciate you facilitating the Shuba. And look, also tonight, like I said, we're celebrating Tibetan culture because sadly, under China's oppression in Tibet, Tibetans can't freely express and practice their culture, their language in public. They can't show His Holiness photo in public or they'd be arrested. So I think it's really important that, we think of that, we're conscious of that. And tonight we proudly celebrate this beautiful ancient culture and recognise His Holiness' lifelong struggle for a free Tibet. Now, I've got to be conscious to keep short because we have a lot of speeches later tonight. I don't want to be up here for too long speaking. You'll get sick of me. But just very, very quickly, I just wanted to share with you when I first met His Holiness, I was producing a program at SBS Television where I worked for about 20 years. Some of my SBS colleagues are here. And I was producing the Mandarin News Australia News and Current Affairs show. And we were featuring prominent people in the community. And we thought, well, we have to ask the Dalai Lama, not thinking that he would say yes. And unbelievably, he said yes. So we're like, oh my God, we have an interview with the Dalai Lama. And it was during his Australian visit in 2011 in Perth. And my journalist at the time, I was producing the show, she's Tibetan and she was so nervous and terrified about her interview. And I said to her, don't worry, you'll be fine. I'll be right behind you. It's all good. Just think of him as another person. And then suddenly we're in the room, we're all set up for the interview and the door opens and I quickly said, Lynn Bain actually was facilitating the interview. And I said to Lynn, oh my gosh, how do we greet His Holiness? Like, what do I say? How do we do this? And she said, you just stand, don't touch him and say Tashi Delek. Your Holiness, like that. I said, okay, good, I can do that. And so Amy was in front of me. She was first, and we thought, well, let her go first because she was so nervous. And eloquently, she stood there together, Tashi Delek, Your Holiness, and she was fine. And then he came to me. I completely lost it. I was sobbing, tears rolling down my face. And I just didn't know, I was so overwhelmed. And he said to me, oh, but what is the matter? And I said, I don't know, Your Holiness. And I kept crying. And I said, I'm so sorry. I'm just overwhelmed. I don't know. It must be your presence. I don't know. He said, oh, just think of me as your friend. I thought, oh my God, I'm going to cry even more. So I was very touched. And since then, of course, hearing the stories from His Holiness, and the fact that, he can't go back to his homeland, being displaced, a refugee for over now 6 to 7 decades, it's heartbreaking. And hearing about, the oppression that the Tibetans endure every day in their own country is heartbreaking. So I feel compelled and I have the fire in my belly to, as much as I can, share with the permission of His Holiness, his story and the story, obviously, of Tibet. And just a very quick note, I'd just like to say on Lynn Bain's behalf, who has been a very big, staunch supporter of Tibet, and she works closely with the Tibetan community here in Sydney, is unfortunately unable to join us, and she just wanted me to say she's so sorry she couldn't be here. Her mum is unwell, but she sends her sincere gratitude to His Holiness and the Tibetan community for having allowed her the privilege to serve, and she's sending lots of love. So just very quickly, I was also very fortunate to have the opportunity to interview the first Sikyong, Dr. Lobsang Sangye at the Opera House, also in 2011. And for those that may not know, in 2011, His Holiness split his role and he's maintained his role as a spiritual leader of the of Tibet. And then there's the role of the political leader of Tibet, that is a democratically elected leader. And it's wonderful. It's such a great honour to have the Sikyong Penpa Tsering here with us tonight from Dharamsala in India. Thank you for joining us tonight. It's very important. And now, without further ado, you're probably sick of me now by now. I'd like to please welcome to the stage human rights activist and lawyer, Barramadigal woman of the Darug-speaking peoples, Jane Christian, who has kindly agreed to deliver the welcome to country.
Warami Midigar Gurumbarak, everyone. It's good to see you. My name is Jane Christian and I'm a Barramadigal woman of the Darug Nation, also known as a language group, and my bloodline is through the Reed Goldspink family, the Eel people. We're here tonight on Gadigal land, the Whale people of the Darug Nation. I am going to try and stick to what I've written because it comes to 4.5 minutes and I don't want to be the one that slows everything down. But before I deliver the welcome, I just wanted to share some thoughts and reflections, as it's been 12 years now since I visited Tibet myself. It was back in 2013 and I was among the first group of people from Western countries who were permitted to enter Tibet again after a 12-month lockdown due to a rising number of self-immolations around the Bakur area in Lhasa. And when I left Australia, the law was still that we couldn't get into Tibet, and I used a dummy itinerary to get my visa. And then when we got there, we just sorted it out and ended up in Tibet anyway. So I knew at that point in time that His Holiness lived in exile, but I hadn't really considered the practical reality of what life was like in Tibet under occupation. And so it was very confronting and sobering for me when I arrived and recognised the dynamics and realities playing out there. I was only in Tibet for 3 weeks, and then I went on to spend a month in Dharamshala, assisting with conversation classes with the Tibetan community, and I was lucky to be staying right next to where His Dalai Lama lives, His Holiness, and attended some of his teachings there as well. When I was leaving Tibet, I just wanted to share this little reflection. The CCP confiscated a Lonely Planet guide from my luggage that was actually a guide for Thailand, and it had nothing to do with Tibet. And being 25 years old, I was quite agitated by that, and I started to voice it. And a Tibetan man stepped forward and he said, "Just let it go." And I said, "But it's not even for here." And he said, "But Lonely Planet tells the truth." And I felt something very deep within me when he said that. And I did let it go. And I also had an emotional breakdown as I walked across the Friendship Bridge into Nepal. Through Nepal and India, I bought other books, and I remember something that I read, and I'm paraphrasing because it's been 12 years, that His Holiness had said, was that in many ways it would have been better for Tibet to stay isolated and peaceful as it was. But the way the world went, they've had to create relationships and allies to help them in the current situation. And he said in terms of tourists going into Tibet, he had a view that if anyone was lucky enough to experience Tibet, the price of that was to always speak the truth about Tibet. And I've always taken that very seriously. So I'm very grateful for that experience. It's very much shaped the person I am in the world today. It's made me a better advocate in our own struggles and a believer in solidarities in all the important work that we're doing. I'm very grateful to His Holiness for his example and his teachings, and I too wish him a long and peaceful life. I will now deliver the welcome to country, and I'd just like to acknowledge that I was taught and permitted to deliver this welcome by Uncle Greg Sims, who was a Gadigal man of the Whale people. He was a respected community elder, and he recently passed away. We only had his funeral last Friday. Tiari mara daraga pemu. Kaui maria pemu nagalaringi babuna. Banai yamana waranang. Nai disigai dai yanangami diarlang. Nagalaringi tiari nagalaringi nagami gai. Guya Williangara Gunagal da Gunagal. Dalalo imugu kopala nangami. Disi lala ina iturimu Gunagal. Jamia tiari nagalaringi orjumana. Midigal goram barak nadaraga pemu. Didrigo. As we take our next steps, remember the ones who walked this sacred land before. This is Darug Lands, the land of our ancestors. Their spirits still walk amongst us. Spirits that have been here since the dreaming. Our language and culture have been passed down through generations to continue an unbroken culture that has extended for thousands of years. In the language of our people, we welcome you to Darug Lands. Thank you.
Thank you, Jane, for that beautiful welcome. Can we now please stand for Tibet's national anthem? please remain standing for our national anthem.
Australians, oh, let us rejoice, for we are one and free. We've golden soil and wealth for toil. Our home is God by sea. Our land abounds in nature's gifts, all beauty rich and rare. In history's page, let every stage advance Australia fair. In joyful strains that let us sing, advance Australia fair.
Thank you. Can we please now put our hands together for Tibetan Buddhist monks to welcome them to the stage to perform chants and prayer. Geshe Jampa, Geshe Lobsang and Geshe Punsok. It's amazing. Thank you so much. Now, if we can please put our hands together again for Tibetan singers to welcome them to the stage, and they're going to perform an opera song called Namda. This is traditionally performed at the beginning of a ceremony for good luck.
khang thang ai xin ki ma chang ai
How magical to hear those amazing, amazing sounds. And we have more wonderful music coming up now. If we can please welcome to the stage and another amazing musician, Tenzin Shogul, to perform his prayer song Gangri Ro, which means snowy mountains. This single is from Tenzin's upcoming album. It's called Be the Sky, and it's in a collaboration with Philip Glass and in honour of His Holiness's 90th birthday. Very exciting. Can't wait to hear this. And a round of applause also for the children accompanying Tenzin. It's the Children's Tibetan Choir from DY.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Yes, that's great. I'm going to do a very special piece that I wrote last year. I was actually anticipating it. And I wrote this piece which has to be something that every Tibetan can sing. It's not something that I alone, when I'm singing, it's not just me singing it. So I chose the stanza that almost every Tibetan within Tibet, Tibetan in exile knows the stanza. So let me read the stanza in English so that you understand why I'm singing this. And the kids are the heroes of this piece, okay? And fortunately, if you go on any music platform, it's out there. I wrote it with, the composition is with Philip Glass, so you can listen to it. We just released it on His Holiness's birthday. So. Okay, so it reads, in the land encircled by snowy mountains is the source of all happiness and benefit, all compassionate Tenzin Gyatso, ocean of wisdom. May you stand firm until the samsara ends. So it's basically almost every Tibetan recites that every day. So, and it's my pleasure to be presenting this song, or I would say Chulu, in presence of our amazing leader, democratically elected leader, our Sikkim. So please, all the Tibetans, if you can join with me, that would be great. And the idea of soul, if you can catch the soul, the idea of soul is, in Tibetan we have this, when we do the incense burning puja, we call out soul. And it's, in my mind, I kept it lyrically as less as possible. And when we call out the soul, it's about asking all the deities to come and join in this prayer. Okay? I came all the way from Brisbane just to sing this song. Okay, and these kids are the hero of this song, and so please give them another round of applause. This prayer basically, if it is recited in Tibet, will have to be very quietly, secretly recited. So, as you know, and then kids here have lots of freedom, and the kids back in Tibet, they don't have much freedom. Anyway, thank you so much.
Wow, we're really being spoilt tonight, aren't we? Can we give them another round of applause? They were incredible. Thank you so much, Tenzin and the kids. So now I'd like to welcome to the stage our co-host of this incredible event. Please welcome Michael Regan, MP. Thanks, Michael. I might just adjust those for you.
It's all good. Usually pretty good at adjusting that. It's okay. 6'4". Wow, how come I've got to follow the best part of the night, the kids? Honestly, it's not fair. Incredibly humbling tonight to be co-hosting this, and I just want to say to any parliamentary colleagues here tonight, welcome and thank you for joining. Could I single out Dr. Sophie Scomps, who's here, our federal member on the Northern Beaches, the awesome Northern Beaches. Welcome, Dr. Sophie. And Your Worship, the Mayor of the Northern Beaches, Sue Hines. Welcome, Sue. Great to see you here. And it is, and I'll do my best to stick to my speech, but there are some things I just want to add personally. But it is an absolute privilege, and it's very humbling to welcome you all tonight to New South Wales Parliament House. It is the first Parliament, as I'm constantly reminded, in the country, and has an extraordinary history. And only just a few months ago, we hosted King Charles and Queen Camilla, so they joined us here in Parliament. But it is incredibly important when we think about the relationship of democracy and what we have here versus what Tibet doesn't have. And that's why it's incredibly humbling to be able to host tonight for me, and on such an important occasion when we're actually celebrating and marking the occasion of the 90th birthday of His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama, an absolute global hero of peace. And to state the obvious, the Dalai Lama is an absolute legend of our times. His Holiness is the spiritual leader for Tibetans, but really is a living treasure for all people. His wisdom has been a source of moral guidance and inspiration for over so many decades. And I was reminded of this only just this week at a funeral of a friend, when the Dalai Lama quote flashed up on the screen during this funeral ceremony. And it said something that I think I've always lived by, and it just resonated with myself and the hundreds in the room. And it was, be kind whenever possible. It is always possible. And this amazing friend and colleague, who we were sadly fellowing, had lived these very words, and it was a reminder that we all can and we all should. We should all do that. And so through his words and through his actions, His Holiness the Dalai Lama has shown us what true leadership can look like. Strong and resilient, but grounded in profound love and empathy. And empathy is not a lot you see these days, particularly in politics. His Holiness has spent a lifetime advocating for non-violence, mutual respect and understanding. Values that transcended borders, faiths and politics. In a world too often divided by conflict, his message is more and more important than ever. Now, I represent the electorate of Wakehurst, which includes one of the largest Tibetan communities in Australia. Tibetan is one of the top 5 languages spoken in Dee Why, which, if you think about it, Dee Why Public School has 62 nations going to that school. Not bad, hey? And it's the 5th most spoken. And I've always had a deep admiration for the Tibetan people, and in the face of unimaginable oppression and dispossession, you've shown incredible grace, ingenuity and commitment to culture. And it turns out some of you can even play cricket. Because one of the councils I led, they decided, with some help of some friends here I can see at another table, set up a cricket game against my council, and they smashed us. little was I to know that that was one of their things. But the guiding light provided by the Dalai Lama is clearly an incredible source of unity and strength, but also cricket skills. Who knew? But there are many Tibetan leaders here tonight, and I want to acknowledge the Honourable Penpa Tsering, the Sikyong, the President of the Central Tibetan Administration in Exile. And we had a lovely conversation and a rest, I think you would call it, on your busy schedule, back up in my office upstairs. And it was great to be able to reconnect and say g'day and talk about all things about your community, our community, and what we can do together, and our shared passion for peace. But we are here to celebrate. And I just want to say, I've been incredibly lucky as a politician. I accidentally got elected in 2008 to be the mayor. It's a story I won't go into, but here I am, 2025, some years later, and I had the privilege of getting to know, you think you know a lot about your community, turns out you know 9 cents of nothing until you become a political figure. And the Tibetan culture really, I knew a little bit about and thought I knew a fair bit about because of just my own personal interest, but you learn so much more from being with them, sitting with them, talking to them, and making them citizens of your great democracy. And I'll never forget, one of my favourite ones was when I'm doing my citizenship, was one of the nicest things you can do as a mayor is you make people citizens, and you hear the stories, you ask questions because I'm genuinely interested. And I was told the story of a group of Tibetans who were told they were coming to Australia. They were in their refugee camp over in India, and they were speaking. They were so thrilled that they were about to be made citizens and go to another country out of this thing. But they said, "We're not going to Australia. We don't want to go to Australia." "You're going to Australia." "No, we don't want to go to Australia. We want to go to DY." DY is in Australia, people. They had no clue, bless them. So, and I never forgot that story, and it just resonated. And then to play against them at DY Oval and get beaten at cricket, I was not happy. But look, we're here tonight, and it's the 90th. As the Dalai Lama continues to inspire new generations to lead with kindness, and I stress that word kindness, to put community above self and to walk gently on this earth, something we all need to do. So what an extraordinary legacy. So tonight, let us not only celebrate a remarkable life, but rededicate ourselves to the principles he has championed: peace, compassion, and the unwavering belief in our shared humanity. Happy birthday, Your Holiness, and thank you for being a light in the world.
Thanks so much, Michael, for your beautiful and entertaining speech. That was wonderful. Thank you so much. Now I'd like to welcome to the stage the President of the Sydney Tibetan Community, Nawa Shozin, who will address us in Tibetan, and Vice President Pasang Kipa, who will also address us. Please welcome to the stage.
Hello, good evening. Dirine Ladang Jiu Joa Yong Jinza Shichenbo, Kamsum Chuji Yao, Jitin Shudi Tehon, Ganjin Pochi like a General Concession Chok Selector Gondang, Gucci Pepe, Ki Korton Jitashi to Sander, Sinipur Tensi Chapon Dindi Mayon Subsidy, Consa Changuchimuchola, Gosam Lapsa, Jami Tachi, Samta Tastil. Diringen got Chipen Navi, Johnny Gendamba Nambatang, Chinangi Kimdo Namba, Kazap Tonjokama Sangencho, Upomi Dingzi, Padin Sijong Pemba Sirincho, Padin Sijong Chok Geton, Shongshap Sarwat and Little Number, Sinipur Tenso, Jini Sarwat and Little Number, Shaya Tutola Namjin, Namkin Summer, Laksam Sormichigat and some Dishijan. Zamlander, Shivdela Tandela Gavi, Mima Saya Mambotang, Laton Zandi, Kanshimba Namchi, Nimsingan, the Sunday Shimshambana, Changunchimbo Chok, Kuse Kabja Tenja, Tuji Yawa Mandua Te Yimbe, Sholo Niton Yishana, Dadumbi, Tarinin, Gonsa Changunchimbo Chogi, Kamtan Rumshum, Mountain Pebji, Yoncha. Katin Jawana, Zaman Chetan, Yangu Pokawa, Kanshimbe, Tedin Chino Yongla, Zodin Savi, Dechi Yamachi Nai Quatino, Tonson Rinchinji Gaya, Shavi Nishiman Chichang. Tedam Sami Gumochola, Tuji Lami Chijin Lord Yuji Dorantan Gopar Uvi Terangin Zegor, 공산 주거 특실인 총이 borji logi samangsu lamsho sartu chishang mimange mangsu toptang laktar chi kobja nawi upomi digri che padin si jong pemba serang cho chepe je galo noati muksar je rentang chawi tonya demba ji chong yu de tim zeram de tomar chango shekamni padin si jong cho muksar kumdun de pebjer malam to mi nyoya revision Ola concept on karma sankin chotang jewe namlam bokter jambar shiwi tomi malam te ngonjer shongwa temre tang jitsok chebar jinli shongwar sini porin tso chi jinli nam che fupa chimbu padin sujong chok litre wani nga chu ngondon la sikra no yi katan la yo tuje lemja shijin tevshin the concept tonjun chola yang tuje chi jin tuchin de tawoji tomar jinli na tar kodr shiwani chimu chi jak cho na shang jinri chi leton ter sochong zinzi chi chizar tongdu chinzom chodang sojen pasang chipa 공산 초대지 소총 대통바 림빈 돌공 던바 터진 린드미 존 산지 리릭란 조아시킨 케인 도미 미릭 대랑 10조 남긴 제니 크로스트 지라 믹서지 드지 치지진 자양 지고 때리니 제사 관계 기긴 생활연배 초당 세위 롭틱 차동바 남바 리주 두가르카 돈링케 마치 계산첩 시와 터진 던지 주전 좋기 토마니 리젠데 잡초라미 나상 르미체 탑동 나와서 대랑 제고 탑동바 용라 두지 치지진 다동 제고 드당 제위 손뎁당 이다 총가지 적고치 지진다 남킨 남바 현양 점상 남킨치 소지과 뭐마 용치 던조 라멘 나와 과든 시드 치지진 제고onder 장도 농키치 미마 강원식 다동 유여장 초칸기 최종당 샵다치 장칭 이진식리 매비 차마国家 천타 마숑을 공세시진 원장 어제가 담치 송가 찍드 저비 땜지지 어제 터몽라원이 소남지제서 체발 전시 사요바 이지세진유 현양 대한기国家的 진이 올라 송원이라양 참대당 뒤지 치지지 마세 감데 리턴 냐브로 남킨 산이 투소 통마 마이크 레겐라양 뒤지 치지진 믹서 사시 포미마 치두 도랑 텐전 펀소 제고 덴데 시장 자타메비 갈렌 저리 사시 자미 타던 공사 장군 첨부 초기 카초 덴두던데 그세 갑질 된장 뒤지 제공 다다 까민 흔치드 배 만든 땅 법무치와 남대 용진 천주 독사 찍을지 공산적 가진 저 초발에 점나 용위 젠크 장매지 스니퍼는 터서 갑절지 비 소송아 춘진지 셜로니 동 니시장아 다든 비 지적지냐 사마 두시나
Firstly, I would like to acknowledge that we are on Aboriginal land, and I would like to pay my respect to Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people here with us today. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, honorable members of Parliament and members of the Tibetan community. On behalf of Tibetan community, it is my honor to welcome you all to this special occasion, the 90th birthday of His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama. I would like to extend my warm welcome to our esteemed guests, the Sikyong of Central Tibetan Administration. Your presence here today is a testament to the resilience and unity of the Tibetan people, and we are honored to have you here with us today. Furthermore, I would like to take this opportunity to thank all those who have supported the Tibetan cause and advocate for the rights and well-being of the Tibetan people. Also, our co-host, Mr. Michael Regan, for your support. Especially, I would like to express my gratitude to the Dalai Lama in Australia Institute. Your tireless contributions in coordinating His Holiness's visit to Australia have brought joy, inspiration, and wisdom to countless individuals. This occasion is not only a celebration of His Holiness's long and extraordinary life, but a recognition of His unwavering dedication to peace, compassion, and well-being of humanity. His Holiness has been a global advocate for nonviolence, dialogue, and human values. His message has simple but powerful, that the true peace begins with the inner peace and sense of shared responsibility. His Holiness has guided Tibetan peoples through one of the most difficult periods in our history. Since going into exile in 1959, he has worked tirelessly to preserve Tibetan identity, its religion, language, and culture while promoting the middle way approach to resolve the issue of Tibet through peaceful negotiation and mutual respect. For Tibetans, His Holiness is more than a leader. He is a source of strength, unity, and hope. This year, in honor of His Holiness's 90th birthday, Tibetans around the world have dedicated this year a year of compassion. It is a tribute to the values he has championed throughout his life, values that are not just Tibetan, but universal. As we mark this special milestone, we express our deepest gratitude for His Holiness's lifelong service to humanity. We also reaffirm our commitment to uphold the principles he stands for: peace, nonviolence, and compassion. Happy 90th birthday, Your Holiness. May you continue to inspire and guide us for many more years to come. Long live His Holiness the Dalai Lama. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Pasang. Now it's time to hear from the representative of the Dalai Lama to Australia, Karma Sangye. Please welcome him to the stage.
So, first of all, I would like to acknowledge the traditional custodian of the land, the Gadigal people on which we gathered here today. I pay my respects to the elders, past, present, and emerging. His Holiness the Dalai Lama turned 90 years old just few days ago, and millions of people around the world celebrated the significant milestone with great reverence and joy. Today, we are gathered here in this historic place in the new Southwell Parliament House with heart full of joy and gratitude to celebrate the 90th birthday of His Holiness Dalai Lama, who is one of the foremost global leader of 21st century, who dedicated his entire life to promote peace, compassion, and nonviolence. Even at 90, His Holiness continued to inspire all of us with his unwavering commitment for the well-being of all sentient beings. To honor His Holiness' 90th birthday, the Central Tibetan Administration has declared this year as a year of compassion. So this year is not only a celebration, but also an opportunity to reflect on His Holiness' lifelong achievement and his vision for the better world and happiness of all sentient beings. As a part of this year-long celebration, my office, Tibet Information Office, the Tibetan communities across Australia, and Tibet Support Group, Australia Tibet Council, Friends of Dalai Lama and Tibet, we will be in the coming months organizing series of events and programs to highlight His Holiness' lifelong achievement and his contribution for the world, peace, and humanity. So I would very appreciate if our guests here could join these events in your area when we organize that, so that you will separate the message of His Holiness, the compassion and kindness. His Holiness says compassion and kindness are the fundamental foundation of both individual happiness and world peace. So I will not take much of time because we have many speakers lined up here tonight. I would like to acknowledge the presence of our Honorable Si Kyung here, who is the democratically elected political leadership of CTA. This is Si Kyung's second visit to Australia since he was elected as Si Kyung in 2021. So
as a representative of Central Tibetan Administration here in Australia, I would like to extend my warm welcome to Sikyong. So this is really a rare opportunity for all of us to hear from Sikyong tonight. And finally, I would like to thank Dr. Sophie, the federal member for Macleay, who is a well-known and steadfast friend of Tibet. And also I would like to thank Michael, who is the co-host of today's event, and he is a very popular figure among the Tibetans in DY. And I would like to extend my thanks to Reverend Bill Cruz, a very long time friend of Tibet and a friend of His Holiness Dalai Lama, and Dr. Chong Yi, and all the distinguished guests here, and every one of you who joined this very special occasion. And your presence here is really means a lot, and thanks for your support for His Holiness Dalai Lama and the Tibetan people. So finally, I would like to pray for the long life of His Holiness Dalai Lama. May His Holiness live long and peace prevail on the earth. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Karma. Now it's time to hear from some of our prominent Australians who will share their experiences with His Holiness for his historic birthday occasion, starting with Dr. Sophie Scoms, the Independent Federal Member for Mackellar.
Hello, everyone. Well, I can say, and I think most of everyone in the room here would feel extremely honoured, delighted and joyful to be a part of this amazing celebration. This is an incredibly auspicious moment. Not only tonight are we celebrating the 90th birthday of His Holiness the Dalai Lama, but also celebrating that life dedicated to peace and compassion, a lifelong commitment that is indeed an exceptional life. I would also like to extend an incredibly warm welcome to the Sikyong for his coming to our country, to Australia, particularly during this incredibly special time. Thank you so much for visiting us here. I would also like to thank and again express my deepest and warmest welcome to Karma Sinje, the official representative of His Holiness the Dalai Lama. Always wonderful to see you and catch up. Thank you for being here tonight. And also, and to Michael and the President and Vice President of the Tibetan community in Sydney, thank you so much for hosting us in this beautiful venue and place tonight. We are, again, all very delighted to be here. Thank you. And again, special guests as well. Thank you. I too won't speak for very long, but it is an incredibly auspicious moment that we are celebrating. I feel incredibly honoured to be a part of this celebration. It is a moment in history. I do think that His Holiness the Dalai Lama, his life, has been a leading light for all humanity for his entire lifetime, and it is extraordinary that we are celebrating 9 years of his life tonight. He is a beacon of hope, love and strength for the people of Tibet, both the people inside Tibet and the people outside of Tibet. He is also a beacon of hope for many others who are not Tibetan all around the world. And as we hear that hope for a different way, we are faced with so many different tragedies and crises as we sit here tonight. We have conflicts, we have environmental degradation, we have climate change, and His Holiness the Dalai Lama leads not only by his words but his actions for a very different way, a way of compassion, a way of love and a way of peace. And we know that he has done that his entire life in more than words and in actions, in advocating non-stop for the middle way for Tibet and always providing that hope to the people of Tibet. And we thank him for that. It was, of course, I think, an extremely joyful and exciting moment just last week when we had the statement from His Holiness the Dalai Lama saying that the spiritual institution of the Dalai Lama would continue. Yeah. I actually can't imagine the joy that Tibetan people all around the world would have felt when they heard that message. And I really hope that message has made its way through the borders and into Tibet as well. I can't imagine what it means to the people inside Tibet. I also want to say that we had the most marvellous celebration. I hear you with DY. DY, we had the most wonderful celebration just last weekend. And it really is a wonderful thing to see that on the other side of the world from Tibet, in a place that geographically is completely different probably from the country of Tibet. We're on the coast, it's very warm, a very different place from your original homeland, but yet still able to celebrate in a very passionate, a very vibrant way, and in a way that really showcased both the art, the traditions, and the culture of the Tibetan people. And I want to say here and now that I am extraordinarily proud of the Australian Tibetan community here. I know that you strive so hard, week in, week out, to preserve and protect your culture. We are incredibly proud of you, and I know Tibetan people all around the world are incredibly proud of you. We also know how grateful you are that the Australian government has allowed you to pursue your religious freedom and culture in freedom. But I also want to let you know that we are extraordinarily grateful as well for everything that you have given to our community here in Australia. And leading again with that sense of compassion and kindness has given so much back to our community, and we thank you deeply for that. I was extremely lucky and honoured to be able to participate in a parliamentary delegation to Dharamsala, where I did meet the Sikyong, and so I hope that we can return your very generous hospitality while you're here, and I look forward to many more visits in the future. With that, I'd also like to wish His Holiness the Dalai Lama all the health and happiness for many, many years ahead. We look forward to the years ahead and the messages that we bring us. And to everyone here tonight, I wish you all a joyful celebration of His Holiness the Dalai Lama, his 90th birthday, and of course of his entire life. Thank you so much for having us.
The Reverend Bill Cruz is making me do acrobatics to get onto the stage. Can you please welcome the Reverend Bill Cruz from the incredible Bill Cruz Foundation.
Happy birthday, my dear, dear, dear friend. Happy birthday. Your very soul cries freedom. Your very being lives freedom. Freedom is like the wind. You are like the wind. The Chinese government can build all the walls all around the place, and the wind eventually blows them away. But your soul exists in your people and people you influence. And just listening to those children, their singing is of freedom, you know? It's of freedom. And nobody can take that away from us. We are all given with that. So I just want to say to His Holiness, God bless you. God bless you. The greatest gift you have given is to give to the whole world your being. That's the greatest gift. And in a way, the stupidity of the Chinese government, because they caused it to happen. The very being of the Tibetan people and the very soul and the very being of the Dalai Lama himself has been freed to the whole world to make us all better people, all of us. And so I just want to say, God bless the Dalai Lama, God bless the Tibetan people, God bless us all, and may we all, in our own way, attempt to live the life and the way he did, or you do. Amen. Thank you.
We could have had a little bit of a waltz there, Bill. Thank you for those wonderful words. Now, can you please welcome to the stage NITV's executive producer of Living Black News and Current Affairs program, presenter and journalist, Carla Grant.
Thanks, Liz. Hello, everyone. It's great to be here tonight. Firstly, I would like to say thanks to Jane for that wonderful welcome to country earlier. And I too would like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land that we gather on tonight, the land of the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation, and pay my respects to their elders past and present. Thank you so much to Chosin and the Tibetan community of New South Wales for inviting me here tonight to pay tribute and celebrate His Holiness the Dalai Lama's 90th birthday. And it's also wonderful to see the Sikyong here tonight. I had the pleasure of interviewing him 2 years ago in 2023 on your last visit here, and I'd like to welcome you back to our beautiful country. His Holiness has a special place in my heart. I've had the great honour of interviewing him twice, the first time in 2013 when he toured the country delivering his teachings at several events, and the second time was when he made his historic visit to Uluru and met the Anangu people, the traditional owners of the land there. I remember during his visit to Australia in 2013, on his way to Darwin, his plane flew over Uluru and he could see Uluru from his window, and he said that he wanted to visit that sacred place. And so he did when he came back in 2015. And when I interviewed him at Uluru, he expressed to me how wonderful it was to see the rock, as he called it, and he was very happy to meet with the local people. I don't think he really appreciated the flies, but he managed to fight them off. And it truly was an incredibly spiritual meeting between His Holiness and the Anangu people. And even though they both spoke different languages, you could see the deep respect that they had for one another and the special bond that they had formed. I know that many Indigenous Australians feel a very special connection with His Holiness because we share similar experiences in terms of the dispossession of land and the fight to maintain and preserve our languages and culture. And during his last visit here, he imparted his knowledge and wisdom on my people and the importance of modernisation and education. And that while it's vitally important to keep practising our language and cultural traditions, it's also important to learn new ways and move with the times so that we aren't left behind. And I think they are very wise words, along with his messages of peace, compassion and tolerance and spreading kindness to one another. I'll always hold dear the times I met with His Holiness. I was struck by his wonderful sense of humour and his childlike playfulness. I wish he could be here with us tonight so that we could wish him happy birthday in person, but I'm sure he's here with us in spirit. And hopefully he will visit us again in the near future. So I'd like to wish His Holiness a very happy 90th birthday, and I hope he will have many more to come. Thank you.
Thank you, Carla. I'd now like to welcome to the stage the Associate Professor Feng Shongyi from the University of Technology, and he's also an Adjunct Professor of History at Nankai University in Tianjin, China. He was arrested in China, wasn't he, in 2017? So we're happy that he was released and he's with us. So I don't think he'll be going back to China soon.
Okay. Yes. Thank you very much for the honor of invitation. I would like to take this opportunity to share with you an interesting little story. Back June 2013, I was invited to join His Holiness Dalai Lama to address a very huge crowd. And in the Sikyong Pempa was there, Bill Cruz also there, Kim Jong Dangdil is also there. All of us are there. And then I was invited to sit next to His Holiness Dalai Lama. And when I was sitting down, His Holiness asked me very seriously, so, Mr. Feng, look at me. Do I look like a monster or a liar? And then I asked back, what? Are you talking about Chinese communist propaganda? I said, no. I advocated for middle way and autonomy within China, within the Chinese constitution. But the Chinese Communist government called me a monster, a separatist, and a liar. And then I said, oh, no, I know. I know a little of Buddhism. A monk does not lie, especially a great high monk like you will never lie. And then I said, who is the real liar? Me or Chinese Communist Party? And then I laugh. I said, we Chinese. All the Chinese I know, the Chinese Communist Party is a habitual liar. They lie to everyone and they lie to themselves as well. And then also the Dalai Lama also laughed. Okay, I'm very glad that some Chinese believe in me. They don't believe in Chinese Communist Party, don't believe in Communist government. And I said, yeah, actually, millions and millions of Chinese like me pay great respect for you and actually worship you. We Chinese also have millions of Buddhist followers. Nowadays, we don't follow Chinese Buddhism because Chinese monk sell the corruption with Chinese government. Whereas the Tibetan monk, they maintain as the spiritual home for Buddhism, the real Buddhism. So we actually hope for you to live very long, and then Dalai Lama told me, oh, relax. I will live much longer than the Chinese Communist regime. Actually, I said, oh, the Chinese, 用 Chinese, 祝你长命百岁, that's long, far beyond 100 years old. And we firmly believe he will live beyond 100 years old and live far beyond the end of communist tyranny in China or in Tibet, and then live beyond the liberation of Tibet as well as China. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. While you're enjoying your dinner, ironically, I'm going to invite Australia's most loved chef, my favourite, Kylie Kwong.
Honourable guests, Sikyong Pempa Sering, dear friends, thank you to Jane Christian for your very warm welcome to country. This evening we gather on beautiful Gadigal land to celebrate a truly remarkable life, the 90th birthday of His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama, the spiritual leader of Tibet and a global icon of peace and compassion. Thank you very much to Chosen, President of the Tibetan Community of Sydney, for inviting me to say a few words. It is a privilege for me to speak at this milestone event, and I am mindful that my experiences are deeply intertwined with those of my wife Nell and the many others who have been moved by the Dalai Lama's teachings. My own journey with Tibet and its people began long before I had the honour of meeting His Holiness. In 2005, I made 2 life-changing trips to Lhasa, where I was profoundly struck by the spiritual dedication and vibrant life force of the Tibetan people. Walking around the streets of Lhasa, eating delicious bowls of thugpa, which are the thin white rice noodles drenched in a thick, spicy brisket-based stock scattered with shallots, with the locals in the welcoming Tibetan tea houses, and experiencing the Jokang Temple, the Potala Palace, and the Sira, Drepung and Ganden monasteries, I witnessed a community whose devotion and resilience shone brightly in the face of adversity. Their tenacity and unwavering spirit left an indelible mark, and I carry those memories with me every day. Over the years, we have had the great honour of not only meeting the Dalai Lama, but also introducing him to the stage at one of his Sydney tours in 2011. We are deeply grateful to Lynn Bain, the former Managing Director of the Dalai Lama in Australia organisation, for inviting us to be a part of these extraordinary moments. The Dalai Lama's visits were transformative for all of those who attended, offering not just wisdom, but a sense of connection and hope. Our personal journey with His Holiness has been profound. In 2009, I had the rare opportunity to cook for him backstage. And yes, I can confirm he does have a sweet tooth and loves chocolate cake. One of the highlights of my life was collaborating with Lynn and her team and with the Dalai Lama and his team to bring him onto MasterChef Australia. It was our dream to see his maroon robe dancing across the TV screen in front of millions of Australians, and in 2011 this dream became a reality, sharing the Buddhist message of peace and compassion with a new generation. But beyond these public and professional moments, the Dalai Lama's teachings have shaped our worldview and our day-to-day lives. His emphasis on kindness, empathy, and the interconnectedness of all beings has taught us to approach every challenge with a compassionate heart. His words have been a source of strength and clarity, especially during difficult times. When Nell and I lost our baby son Lucky in 2012, we were overwhelmed by grief. Lucky was half Tibetan, and it was the Dalai Lama's gesture of blessing Lucky's ashes during his 2013 Sydney tour that marked a turning point for us. That act of compassion gave us hope and helped us begin to heal. This support reminded us that even in our darkest moments, we are not alone, that there is always a hand reaching out, offering comfort and understanding. On this journey, we've also had the privilege of connecting with many of you here tonight from the local Tibetan community. Our shared reverence for the Dalai Lama has created bonds of friendship and solidarity that we deeply treasure. These relationships have enriched our lives and reminded us of the importance of community, especially in times of hardship. As we celebrate His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama's 90th birthday, let us reflect on his enduring message that compassion is not just an ideal, but a practical force for change. In a world often divided by fear and misunderstanding, his teachings offer a path forward, one built on empathy, respect, and a commitment to the well-being of all. Thank you for your wisdom, your kindness, and your unwavering commitment to peace, Your Holiness. Happy 90th birthday. Your life is a gift to us all.
Thank you, Kylie, for sharing your beautiful story. Really appreciate you sharing those insights with us. While you're enjoying your dinner, I'm starving. I'm looking forward to having some dinner as well. And I want to learn how to make some chocolate cake. Kylie, you'll have to help me. Please welcome to the stage our performers from the Tibetan community, singers and dancers, and the children from the Tibetan school in see why. They'll be performing while you're still eating, and I'm going to enjoy some dinner. And then soon after, we'll have the much anticipated keynote speech by the formidable Sikyong Penpa Sering.
Hello, hello. Hello, hello. Good evening. Thank you, thank you, thank you, everyone. Happy, very, very happy birthday, His Holiness. Hello, hello, hello. Hello, hello.
pesa nyutu chavita shisho maji cholo dohne maji kashiruke Kemi dike nopu Yamge ishinobu
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
please give our performers another big round of applause? They're amazing. Incredible. Hope you're enjoying your dinner. I just had a lovely dish myself after all this. It's time now for our keynote speech to be delivered by the formidable Sikyong Penpa Sering, the President of the Tibetan Government in Exile. Please give him a warm welcome.
Thank you so much, Liz.
My greatest pleasure. It's a great honour.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Liz raised the expectations so much, I don't know what to do now. First, I want to thank Jane Christian for opening this conference with your kind words and talking about your visit to Tibet and Dharamsala. And I pay my respect to the people of Gadigal who own this land, who are the real custodians of this land on which we are celebrating His Holiness' birthday today. Thank you very much for all the indigenous people. And my respects to Reverend Bill Cruz. We met in Dharamsala. You have been a good friend of His Holiness. In fact, His Holiness' second commitment is interreligious harmony. And that's also one reason why His Holiness has so many friends across religions, including Reverend Bill Cruz. I want to thank Michael Regan for co-hosting this event along with the Tibetan community of Sydney. Last year also, Michael helped us organize one event where Carla and we had this interview together. Thank you again for doing this for His Holiness and for the people of Tibet. And Dr. Sophie, you visited Dharamsala. I was in Canberra. We met, we worked together. Your support is invaluable. And we are looking forward to one more parliamentary delegation from Australia as we celebrate His Holiness' 90th birthday as a year of compassion through the year. So we are expecting congressional and parliamentary delegations from many parts of the world to wish His Holiness personally his 90th birthday and also be part of the celebration. Professor Chongyi, he also helped organize one event when I was here last at his university. Being a Chinese, it's not very easy to support Tibet, but you have stood for us for so many years. Thank you so much. Carla, again, for that wonderful interview we did together. And Kylie, thank you for the kind words that you spoke about. Your visit also to Tibet, that makes you special. I have never been to Tibet. You know, to fulfill my emotional needs, I try to go on the Indian borders with Tibet from time to time. And all the other guests whom I've met earlier, whom I'm meeting for the first time. Zoe is here, a longtime friend who used to work in Holland those days with the International Campaign for Tibet. All our Tibetan brothers and sisters, thank you for organizing this event in Sydney. I took a 9-hour drive from Dharamsala to Delhi because the weather these days are not very good, so you never know when the plane is going to get cancelled. So we took the car and traveled 9 hours up to Delhi, and then from Delhi to here, you know how many hours, including transit. But it's worth the trouble. We just had a week-long celebration of His Holiness' birthday starting from June 30th. June 30th is, according to Tibetan calendar, His Holiness' 90th birthday. And according to Western calendar, July 6th, there was 1 week difference. And this was good because we had about 200 journalists in Dharamsala who wanted to hear what His Holiness had to say, because way back in 2011, September, His Holiness said that when I reach the age of 90, then I will make a statement. And that was this time. That happened on July 2nd, which Dr. Sophie also referred to. And of course, we are delighted. Every Tibetan is delighted. I think every friend of His Holiness is delighted. The fact that no Dalai Lama has lived this long. The first Dalai Lama, Gendun Trup, lived up to 84, 85 years old, and the rest, some lived for long, not very long. 60 is a good year in Tibet, a good age in Tibet. So these days, of course, people live longer, but those days not so much. So the fact that His Holiness lived up to 90, and also the fact that His Holiness keeps reassuring us that he will live for another 2 decades and more. And last 2 months, His Holiness has been saying, I'll live up to 130. So I keep telling our Chinese friends, this message is for you, because they have been waiting for His Holiness to die for the last 20 years. They have been preparing for this. And we are in a very awkward position when His Holiness keeps reassuring us that he will live for another 2 decades. And then you have all the journalists from around the world speaking about his reincarnation as if he's going to leave this world in a day or two. Then you also get questions asked about whether His Holiness will travel more in future. So I say, His Holiness have no miracles. He is 90, and he cannot reverse his age. So these days, of course, His Holiness travels only 2 times a year, but he keeps himself very busy. I just want to tell you that His Holiness is keeping very well. We had a short scare on the 4th morning when His Holiness felt a little unwell, but otherwise he's doing perfectly well. He's meeting about 1,000 people every week, every Monday, every Wednesday, and every Friday he meets between 300 to 400 people for general audience. Of course, his travel schedules have reduced, interviews have reduced, teaching schedules have been reduced, but His Holiness travels every summer to Ladakh, where the climatic conditions are much more suitable to his health. And since last year or beginning of this year, His Holiness started traveling to South India during winter, which normally he travels to Bodh Gaya to give teachings, but now with the reduced schedules, he gets more rest, and the weather conditions are also much more suitable during winter in South India for His Holiness to recover. So, of course, during these last 1 week of celebration, we also had 3 days of religious conference. We coincided that just before His Holiness' 90th birthday, because one thing that we can do and one thing that Chinese cannot do is that as long as the 14th Dalai Lama is alive, there is nothing the Chinese government can do. And His Holiness has been asked so many questions, and His Holiness' response has always been, yes, why not? Why can it not? When journalists ask His Holiness, could the next Dalai Lama be women? His Holiness says, why not? Because he always gives example of compassionate relationship between mother and a child, and that women have compassion. They are naturally compassionate. So why not a next Dalai Lama in a women's form? That's also possible. And when His Holiness is asked, could that be an emanation, which is more like a succession or successor. Emanation is appointing somebody before your demise. That also His Holiness says that practice was there in Tibet. It's not so widely used, not once, even in the case of the 14 Dalai Lama so far, but that practice was also prevalent. And then sometimes His Holiness says, I could be the last Dalai Lama, because His Holiness always likes to say it's better to end when you are going good. So even with the end of the Ganden Phorang government, that His Holiness devolved all his administrative and political responsibilities in 2011, he says, I'm happily, joyously relieving my responsibilities because this is the best at the peak. Now, if the Dalai Lama turns out to be not so good in future, it could be a problem. So His Holiness says that. That is why His Holiness' statement on 2nd of July was significant. As I mentioned earlier also, I think Dr. Sophie also referred to that His Holiness accepted on the request of all the Tibetans, the larger Tibetan Buddhist community, the larger Buddhist world, and now His Holiness has so many followers around the world, and some governments have also passed resolutions to that effect. That is why His Holiness says, I accept to renew the institution of the Ganden Phorang Trust, which traditionally is the management of the private office of His Holiness the Dalai Lama, and traditionally the custodian of all the reincarnations of the previous Dalai Lamas. And then His Holiness also says that I will be born in a free world. That is in response to what China has been saying, that they will look for His Holiness reincarnation within China or within Tibet. And His Holiness says, I will be born in a free world. Because I remember His Holiness talking about this when there were possibilities of His Holiness visiting China or Tibet, and His Holiness said, I will. But the precondition from the Chinese side was that he should stay back for good. And the response from His Holiness is that if I get to go to Tibet and China, I will. But I will not live there because there is no freedom there. The whole concept of the idea of reincarnation is to carry forward the legacy and the activities of the previous Lama in the next life to serve humanity. So if there is no freedom, you have no space to fulfill your activities. And the second thing the Chinese government says is that they should use the golden urn. Now, there have been 8 Dalai Lamas before the golden urn. Golden urn was introduced in 1793 by the Qing when they had little influence over Tibet, and they wanted to use it for political means. But even then, the Qings were Buddhist to a certain extent, not like the communist government now that does not believe in any religion. So, when Chinese government said Tibetans are breaking away from tradition, that was the immediate response when we started celebrating His Holiness' 90th birthday. Now, what tradition are we talking about? 8 Dalai Lamas before 1793 were chosen through the religious traditions. That was the real tradition. So Qing dynasty decided to interfere in the process of selection of reincarnations, and even after that, it was used only for 9th and 11th Dalai Lama, not the 10th, not the 12th, not the 13th, not the present Dalai Lama. No golden urn was used. So that speaks for itself. And the third thing the Chinese government says is that they have to approve the reincarnated Lama. So these are the 3 basic position of the Chinese government. So a government that does not believe in any religion wants to be responsible for selecting reincarnated Lamas. That is why, you know, His Holiness always has a very humorous way of responding to difficult questions. So His Holiness says, if the Chinese government is really serious about reincarnation, they should first study Tibetan Buddhism, believe in the concept of life after death. Then they should look for Mao Zedong's reincarnation, because Mao Zedong is no more with us. If the Chinese Communist government is really serious, then they should look for Deng Xiaoping's reincarnation. Now even Jiang Zemin is not with us. So maybe the Dalai Lamas after that. Yeah, so these are some of the Chinese position on His Holiness reincarnation. People are talking about possibilities of 2 Dalai Lamas in future whenever that time comes. We have prepared ourselves in exile as to what we need to do. Chinese will definitely do it for political means, political ends, to show their power with no respect to any religion. Even today, as we celebrate His Holiness' 90th birthday here, Tibetans inside Tibet can show no sign of celebration whatsoever. So I just heard from Lhasa that people are throwing flowers in the river, thinking that this river will go into India and somehow reach India. So that's how people show their devotion to His Holiness. I also tell the Chinese, if you look for one and if we look for one, there will be 2 Dalai Lamas. So do you want a lifelong headache or not? Because it's going to be lifelong. It's not just going to be one-off incident where there's a protest and Chinese government send its army and crush them. It's going to continue for life, and 2 Dalai Lamas. And I keep saying the same experience that Panchen Lama, the one that Chinese government has chosen in 1995 instead of a boy who was recognized by His Holiness the Dalai Lama, I say Chinese government made a very strategic mistake by not recognizing the same boy that His Holiness had. Now we don't know whether the real Panchen Lama is still alive or not. There's no response from the Chinese government side. And the Chinese Panchen Lama is not respected by the Tibetans. If you ask the Tibetans inside Tibet if they are able to speak freely, they would say he is just another Lama. You know, so they cannot sell the picture of the Chinese Dalai Lama chosen Panchen Lama at the age of 6. They don't want to sell the picture of the Chinese Panchen Lama. So to show their displeasure, they sell the picture of the 10th Panchen Lama. If you go to Lhasa, streets of Lhasa today, you won't see pictures of both the young ones, but the previous Panchen Lama, just for the Tibetans to show their displeasure. And the Chinese government has been trying to send Chinese Panchen Lama into Tibet to show to the world that Tibetans inside have respect and faith and loyalty to Chinese Panchen Lama. Traditionally, when we go and go to the lamas, we have to make offerings. Now, these days, it's a role reversal where the Chinese government pays you money to receive Chinese Panchen Lama. Chinese government pays you money to go listen to Chinese Panchen Lama to show the semblance of Tibetans inside Tibet having faith in Chinese Panchen. So even now, as we speak, the Chinese Panchen is in Lhasa. Of course, we don't hold any grudges against the boy because he was driven into these circumstances. He's also a Tibetan boy. So China has not been able to use the Chinese Panchen as much as they wanted to. He has been only to to Thailand once and Hong Kong once. They tried to send him to Nepal 2 times, but it didn't work. So where else will Chinese Panchen go? In future also, if Chinese government look for one Dalai Lama, that Dalai Lama will not have freedom to move around. Whereas the Dalai Lama that will be chosen in the free world will have all the freedom to move around the world and, continue with the activities that he is committed to doing. So these are some of the things, and I want, of course, media wants to know about the reincarnation, 200 media people. I must have done about 30, 40 interviews in the few days that were available. And some ask, their questions is all about reincarnation or succession. I just want to make this clear that in the case of succession, I think it's more akin to the hereditary lineage, like the Sakyapas we have from father to son and all that. That's a succession process. And then emanation also could be a succession process. But reincarnation is looking for a soul boy after the demise of the Lama. So it's too early. I keep saying we are in a very awkward position because on the one hand, His Holiness keep reassuring us that he will live for another 2 decades and more. And then on the other hand, you have the international media asking about the reincarnation all the time. And but His Holiness is really committed to live long, to serve humanity. And I say what is more important to celebrate His Holiness' 90th birthday is to remember his messages, his teachings. 4 principal commitments. One, it's very simple. His Holiness says, I'm one among the 8 billion people, just as we all are. Maybe we have different positions, different wealth, I don't know, different background, but we are all same human being, oneness of humanity. Right? We all have the same intellect. What color, what background we come from, doesn't matter. Based on that, His Holiness worked with scientists for many years, on Mind and Life conferences. And His Holiness also developed a curriculum called Sea Learning with Emory University for many years. And Sea Learning is SEE. There are institutions who teach us on social and emotional learning, but His Holiness added ethical to that. I remember once, maybe 15 years ago, when I accompanied His Holiness to London and one of the politicians came, and his first question was, we have so much problem with the youth in London. So His Holiness' immediate response was, there is something wrong with modern education that focuses only on materialism, not on developing your mind. So this Sea Learning is it's social, emotional, and ethical learning. It's a very secular approach to education, not dependent on any particular religion. Just bring out the best in yourself, whether you are a believer or not, and then you can definitely contribute towards making this world a better place to live in. And then His Holiness' second commitment, His Holiness always says, I'm a simple Buddhist monk, and I'm a practitioner, I'm a religious person, right? And just as there is not one single medicine for all kinds of diseases, we have so many religions to cater to so many different mental dispositions and inclinations. That is why His Holiness has participated, and religion is supposed to bring peace in an individual's life or a community. But unfortunately, religion is also being used as a weapon to divide the community more. That is why His Holiness has led and participated in so many interreligious harmony conferences around the world. And that's also the reason why I said His Holiness has friends across religions. And His Holiness' thinking is very simple. Practice your own religion, but respect all other religions. So whatever your mental inclination, disposition says, you follow that. You don't have to change your religion. You don't have to change your parental. We don't believe in conversion also. So His Holiness holds this belief that you practice your own religion, but respect all other religions. And his third commitment, His Holiness says, I'm a Tibetan and I have a responsibility towards my people. But he self-admittedly said in this book that out of the 4 commitments, the third commitment on Tibet, I have not been able to achieve much. So I would highly recommend all the guests here, if you have not received this book, maybe they will be presenting one book. This is the latest book of His Holiness. Soon after coming into exile, His Holiness wrote My Land and My People to speak about his experience when he left Tibet and the difficulties that he had to go through. And it also covers the historical part of Tibet in that duration. And the second book was Freedom in Exile. That was in the middle. Now, this is the third, Voice for the Voice. Of course, there are so many religious books based on teachings of His Holiness. But this book talks about how much His Holiness has really worked hard to resolve the Sino-Tibet conflict or the Sino-Tibet dispute through nonviolent means, through a mutually beneficial solution, through a negotiated solution that could be lasting. Now, if you look at the world today, where there's so many conflicts going on, whether you are resolving one problem now or are you creating more problems for future, nobody knows. Because violence begets more violence. So much violence happening in front of your own eyes. Small kids, when they grow up, if they are not spiritually guided well, then they could become potential problems for future, because they will carry this all their life. So that is why there needs to be focus on nonviolence as a means of resolving all kinds of conflicts, even though you may have to compromise a little bit. Then the fourth, of course, then we have a culture that's based on Buddhism, that's based on nonviolence, that's based on compassion. And His Holiness says, if we have a culture that is not worth saving, forget it. But we have a culture that has potential to spread more peace in this world. That's why it's worth saving. And then Tibet's environment is not only important for Tibet. We call ourselves the land surrounded by snow mountain ranges. Westerners started calling Tibet the roof of the world because of its altitude of more than 4,000 meters average. That's why when I went to Japan, I said, which is your highest mountain? They said, Mount Fuji. How high? 3,700, 3,800 meters. That's like base camp in Tibet. You have to start climbing from there. So that's how high Tibet is. And the area of Tibet is also 2.5 million square kilometers out of 9.7 million square kilometers, which is about 25% of China's landmass. It's very big, but very scarcely populated. Today, we are only about 7.3 million inside Tibet and 130,000 Tibetans in exile. Then His Holiness' fourth commitment is preservation of the ancient Tibetan and Indian wisdom. Because whatever His Holiness is today is based on what he studied from those Indian wisdom, and which is still very, very relevant today. So I wanted to speak about these four commitments. All of us in this room and outside practice what His Holiness practices, then we can definitely make this world a better world to live in. So this paper is already on your table. I don't know how many of you read through this, but I thought it's proper that I conclude with this message from His Holiness. On the occasion of my 90th birthday, I understand that well-wishers and friends in many places, including Tibetan communities, are gathering for celebrations. I particularly appreciate the fact that many of you are using the occasion to engage in initiatives that highlight the importance of compassion, warm-heartedness, and altruism. I'm just a simple Buddhist monk. I don't normally engage in birthday celebrations. Tibetans consider birthdays as getting 1 year closer to death. That's another way of looking at it. So I'm just a simple Buddhist monk. I don't normally engage in birthday celebrations. However, since you are organizing events focused on my birthday, I wish to share some thoughts. While it's important to work for material development, it's vital to focus on achieving peace of mind through cultivating a good heart and by being compassionate, not just towards your near and dear ones, but towards everyone. That's going beyond your families. That's true altruism. That's true compassion. Through this, you will contribute to making the world a better place. As for myself, I will continue to focus on my commitments of promoting human values, religious harmony, drawing attention to the ancient Indian wisdom which explains the workings of minds and emotions, and Tibetan culture and heritage, which has so much potential to contribute to the world through its emphasis on peace of mind and compassion. I develop determination and courage in my daily life through the teachings of the Buddha and Indian masters such as Shantideva, whose following aspiration I strive to uphold. That's quoting from Shantideva's text. As long as space endures, as long as sentient beings remain, until then may I too remain to dispel the miseries of the world. Thank you for using the opportunity of my birthday to cultivate peace of mind and compassion. Tashitile, and with prayers, Dalai Lama. Thank you. Thank you so very much, Liz, for emceeing this program. Michael, again, for co-hosting this event, and all the guests who took the time out to share your valuable time with us, with the Tibetan community here. We feel really encouraged. All these videos that they are taking here, the pictures that they are taking here. Dr. Sophie also mentioned that whatever is being done in Dharamsala must have got through to Tibet. Despite all the firewall that China is building, we do manage to get messages through to Tibetan people inside Tibet. As we celebrate here, Tibetans inside Tibet don't have the freedom to do anything, not show any sign of celebration. That's how hard Chinese government is. You know the rest, what is going on inside Tibet. We are facing an existential problem. We need your support more than ever before. Now that His Holiness does not travel as much as he used to, I travel 6-7 months a year to reach out. So one time I met a High Lama who was my predecessor at the airport, and he said, "Pempa, oh, you're going around the world a lot these days." So I said, "You are a Lama. You can sit in one place and still command respect. I'm an ordinary person. I have to do all the legwork." So, but our people here on this side and that side are very happy that we are here. We are able to meet for the second time. Tibetans are now scattered around in more than 27 different countries. In the United States alone, I have to visit 29 states because that has many states that Tibetans are staying there. And here in Australia, last time I was in Canberra, I had meetings with Sophie and friends in the Australian Parliament, and members who had few Tibetans in Wagga Wagga, in Nauru, in Newcastle, Blue Mountains. Everybody say, "Oh, we are so happy to have Tibetans in my community." Of course, the largest one are here. And going back to Michael saying DY, even I was taken aback. I didn't know what DY was, where is it in Sydney, and I asked somebody else, "Where is DY? What is DY in Sydney?" And they said, "This is a posh area." And I said, "How come all Tibetan refugees are going to the posh area?" It's because they get better jobs here. And now, after several years, now they are moving, they find their way out, and they are moving outside in places which are more affordable for them. So I thank the Australian government for continuing with the immigration program that started way back in 96, 97. And so far, close to 2,000 Tibetans have moved here. And we have an ongoing immigration program thanks to the Labour government that's running the government now, and all our friends in the Australian Parliament and elsewhere also. We had to put pressure from some other countries as well. But whatever, however, it worked, and we are happy that the program is back. And I want to thank all our friends in Australia for helping us. Please don't forget us. We need your support more than ever, but we will never, ever lose hope. We will continue to push our struggle ahead. Thank you.
Wow, certainly worth waiting for. Thank you so much, Sikyong Penpasering. Thank you for your insightful words. It was incredible. Thank you. Now, oh yes, you surpassed our expectations, of course. Can we give him, please, another round of applause? It was great honour. Thank you. Wow, I love a birthday party. I think this is one of the best birthday celebrations I've ever attended, and it's going to get even better. We have a big surprise from the Tibetan community for everyone here tonight. You will receive, I think it was from the words of the Sikyong, everyone is going to receive Voice for the Voiceless, book by His Holiness the Dalai Lama. So the 12 leaders, which are just at the back of the room, they're going to hand everybody one of these books. And I've read it. It's an incredible book. It was released this year, as the Sikyong said earlier. It's an amazing insight into the Dalai Lama and the, Tibet's story. So we have the performers coming back out. They have 4 more songs to perform, and then we will toast His Holiness the Dalai Lama on his 90th birthday. Please continue to enjoy the night. Thanks.
Cheers. Nous avons envie de découvrir. C'est notre concert, je t'aime beaucoup, je vous entends. Le groupe sont de sans la sans toute la cité d'Asie. Ini vous me dites, si tu en fais de terrain de personnes parmi les gars la cité là. Ini trouble sur des dans les éléments de tu t'en fais de la cité là.
Let's give our wonderful performers another big round of applause, please. So, unfortunately, we're starting to wind up this amazing night, but before we do, Tenzin, I'll call Tenzin Sjögul up to the stage. We're going to do a special toast for His Holiness' birthday, but Tenzin is going to play some music first, and he's going to toast His Holiness in Tibetan, and then I'll just say a quick few words. Tenzin, the stage is yours. Kyunson.
I was going to sing a song, but I won't.
Have you got a mic?
I'll just do an improvised piece and then going to celebrating and then going to singing the birthday song, and everyone can join. Okay? So I'll improvise this piece with Two mountains, though they
Bless you.
don't meet, but they see each other all the time. Two rivers, though they don't meet, but though they don't see each other, but they have the faith to meet at some point.
Just very quickly, to top off this birthday celebration, young Tenzin Tassel, where are you? She would just love to sing a special song for His Holiness. So can we please give her a big round of applause? Here. Can we have this one on, please? Is that one working?
Hello?
Sam lion kita bercerisi Lani maaf ya doa tembe kiam gyi Kung sa kiam gyi si kiam so che Lani kutse chilo tembe
Wow. Tenzin Tatsul, everybody. She knows how to command the stage, doesn't she? Amazing. Thank you, beautiful. Well, that wraps up the evening. A big happy birthday to His Holiness the Dalai Lama on his 90th. We wish him a longer life, greater happiness, health, and also hopefully one day a free Tibet. Thank you everyone for joining us. I hope you enjoy the night. It's been a great honour. Thank you.